Hi, Lee here. So we're back again for another guitar build. As you've seen through my journey of building guitars, I think I've built about 5 guitars now on various videos that I've posted on YouTube. I'm just trying to learn the different techniques and trying something different each time I build a guitar. So if you remember last time I tried to put a top on a guitar and that turned out quite nicely, so I put a sycamore top on a Telecaster styled guitar. So that was really nice. This one is going to be slightly different. Instead of building all of the guitar from scratch, I thought I'd just buy all the bits in, and this one is going to be more about, well, 2 things really. One of them, I've never put any colour or paint on a guitar, so what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to just use some dye to see if I can dye either the back of the neck or the body and the body, and then seal it with some nitrocellulose. So I also haven't done that either. I've always just used oils to finish my wood coloured bodies. The second thing is I really want to practice my fretwork. So I'm going to actually install the frets, but I'm going to take a lot more care. Now I've done a lot more research and watched a lot of helpful videos online on how to put in frets better, because the better you put them in, the easier it is to set up the guitar in the long run. So that's my hope for this build. It's going to be colour the body and maybe the back of the neck, and also to put the frets in perfectly, so this fretboard is absolutely perfect and the neck is finished with the lowest action I can put on it. So what I'll do is I'll give you a closer look of what I've bought and what we're going to do, and then we'll get on with building it. I'm not sure what I'm going to start with yet, either the colour or the fretwork, but we'll decide that later. So let's take a closer look of what I've got. So first of all, obviously it's going to be a Telecaster, a 25.5 inch scale length, all very traditional, already pre-cut and machined as you can see. So I actually bought the body and the neck from an online website I found. It was called boobooguitars.co.uk, so B-O-O-B-O-O guitars.co.uk. I think they get sort of like factory second pieces in that have various issues with them, but they sell them a lot cheaper. So the bodies they sell, anything like 1, 2 or 3 piece, anything from like £40 up to £100 for one that doesn't seem to have any issues with it. And the necks are anything from around the same, maybe £40 to £70 with maybe some imperfections in them. And of course the cheaper the body, the more imperfections, so the cheapest ones may have bigger knots in them, things like that. But still, looking online to get a good quality body and neck, you're still looking at several £100s to get a quality one. So I thought, since they're quite cheap, it's worth giving them a try, and I've received this body and it is absolutely amazing. So I'm really pleased with this purchase. At first glance I've had a good look around it, and everything seems pretty good. I've put the neck in as well just to make sure all of the pre-cut holes are correct, and it does work out to be the 25.5 inch scale length. Obviously the neck is as well. I've already pre-checked it just to make for sure. So everything fits together, and this body is really nice for the price. At least it seems to be so far. I got the neck as well. I spent a little bit more on the neck, but what I noticed is they actually had a flame maple neck, and that is relatively rare to get hold of easily. Usually they're very expensive, but this one has a flame on it, which I should be able to bring out with some oil or even the dye, just to get that flame effect to come through. So that's really nice, and I'm happy with that. As you can see, I've already drawn my headstock design on there. Very cheap, safe, easy, simple headstock design. I've used it on a few of my guitars now. I'm just trying to find something that's simple and easy to use. Got the tuners. I just got some Fender tuners. They're not too expensive. You can get them on Amazon. I also got the Strat style bridge. I believe this one has a harder, possibly stainless steel internally in the block at the bottom. But yeah, it's relatively cheap. They're all pretty cheap online. Of course, the other pieces of plastic at the back for the controls. The nut as well, just some standard size Fender nuts. And of course, what I did to make the electronics easier, I got a loaded scratch plate. So I mean, this one is quite expensive. I didn't need to spend anywhere near this much, but I figured once I own this, I'll never need to replace it. So it is my plan to one day to get I'll find a decently set up second-hand Fender, even a cheap one, a Mexican-made Strat or something, and I can always put this directly into it to make the most out of that guitar. But for the meantime, I got this. It's actually a bare knuckle set. Bare Knuckle are a handmade pickup manufacturer in the UK. They seem to be quite popular online, and I've seen a few reviews, so I thought I'd just get the loaded scratch plate in parchment colour. So all of these pieces I have, obviously I need fret wire to go with that, so I've got some fret wire. I still have this left over from my previous builds, and this should be absolutely fine for this build. And of course I've got some water-based dye that I'm going to play with on the back of the body to start with, just to see what it looks like, if it even works, because obviously this colour wood, I think it might be ash, I can't remember what I ordered now. It may not take colour very well. This is what I'm going to find out. This is part of the learning experience. But I've got some dye, a blue and a black, and I'll put that on, starting on the back of the body, and we'll see how it turns out. So hopefully this should be a relatively easy build to put together because it's all been machined perfectly. Obviously I've already put the neck into the slot and everything fits and everything is correct. So it should be more about setting up the neck correctly and putting colour and seal onto the body. And the rest of it should just come together. So my hope is at the end of this I will have probably the best guitar I've ever built, because I haven't had to cut everything out, but it will be a keeper, it will be a usable guitar that I can take around with me, and of course because I build it out of cheap parts, you're never going to be scared of it being scratch, damage or anything like that. So hopefully at the end of this I will have a very decent working serviceable Fender style guitar. So let's get on and start with, what shall I start with? Let's go with testing some colour on the back of the body, because I'm really anxious to see if it even works. If it doesn't work, then I may revisit that. I might just get some coloured nitrocellulose, or I might just paint it directly. But I'll work that out. Let's see what happens with the dye on this body and see if I think it will work.